if they burn you well.
If they burn you well too.
You just stand up, come and meet me.
You don't do anything. You just talk for nothing.
No, I have never smoked before.
I just noticed that boy don't change.
Holy Shaolin Temple. Your son don't talk to Ninja.
You gotta disobey your parents, Abi. Eh? No, sir, you both say parental guardian say what? It's a manufacturing agency. Magbeti Yadano.
From now on, Nimbe is my favorite cousin.
But for all the money we have spent on you to go school, you waste everything for here.
Enough! Let me tell him how he has failed as a father. But this is home now.
Fear is the disease. Hustle is the antidote. Welcome to The Intellect, Youth with a Nation at Heart. My name is Daniel Adaja. On The Intellect today, we're going to be talking about the manufacturing and the exporting and importing industry. And doing justice with us today, we will be speaking with the CEO of Nord Automobiles. I'm talking of no other than Ajayi Oluwatobi. Good day, sir.
Thank you very much for coming.
Good to meet you.
Same here.
All right, can we get to know you?
My name is Oluwatobi Ajayi. I am the chairman and CEO and founder of Nord Automobiles Limited. I grew up in the auto industry. My dad owned an auto company, Squadron Motors, which was a dealer of Peugeot in the early 90s. And I started my career at Mercedes-Benz Nigeria. I served there and I got retained. I moved very fast, I grew very fast. I became responsible for the van division when I was just 24 years old. Then after that, I started Jet Van Automobiles Limited. Jet Van is a dealer of Mercedes-Benz, authorized dealer of Mercedes-Benz, and we had the exclusive rights for the Mercedes-Benz Sprinters in Nigeria. I had a lot of challenges, so many challenges. In fact, some of them were bigger than I thought they were going to be. One of them was finance. I didn't know that the company would need a company this serious, trying to assembling vehicles in Nigeria in your own brand. I didn't know that R&D will take so much money. I didn't know putting structure and advertisement and marketing would take so much funds or require so much funds. So I just felt it was just this and that, more like the way authorized dealers are, just buy and sell. But it was a lot more. I needed to apply for license and National Automotive Council, now NDDC license to assemble it. Had to get a warehouse, had to get assembly plant. It got me money week after week. So it was so difficult at the point I felt like giving up, But I thank God I didn't give up. Before you talk about structures or whatever, I think you have to set your company's core values. So those are very important things. So when your values are, when you have certain values that as the founder, as a person, you have, then you can translate into your company. It will also be the basis for most of the decisions you make, like recruitment, how you deal with customers and a lot of things. So some of the core values that we have were, number one, integrity. So we do things that we say we will do. We do not encourage certain unethical practices. So number one. Number two is teamwork. We like brilliant people, but we always put teamwork ahead of brilliance. I'll tell anybody, anytime, any day, Nigerian business environment is not a place for the weak. It's not a place for the weak. But some people always misinterpret it for being that you must be unethical or you must be dubious. No, there's a difference between being firm, being being thorough and being unethical. You know, I'm very ethical. I try to do the right things every time. You know, but that doesn't. But I'm like I told you, if I'm giving you, I told you that I'm going to give you some hours for me. No matter what anybody is saying, I'm going to give you those hours, and I'm going to give it to you well. That's how I am. I do my thing and I do it well. You know, so regardless, people will talk, people will say a lot of things, people will try to distract you, but just be focused. Be focused. Do what you have to do. Ensure that, and before you do it, so that you're not easily distracted, ensure that you've defined what you want to do. If you're going to solve a problem, you've defined the problem, you've laid out the objectives of solving this problem, you know, and how you're going to go about it. So when anybody is coming to you, you listen, but you ask them, okay, I've laid down this criteria, you know, are you going to take them for me? You get so you have to be thorough, you have to be firm, you have to be very focused, you have to work very hard, you have to be very smart, you also have to be very connected, you have to know people, you have to network. First of all, tell yourself, what am I solving? What problem am I solving? If you're sure that it's a true problem, it's a fundamental problem that people will be happy that you solved it, then move, just keep moving. Believe in it, be smart about it. When I mean smart, also means you don't have to quit your job. You know, you can be doing the two. When you get home at night, you know, in the afternoon, work, or when you get home, on your way home, when you get home, continue to work. Be very smart about what you're doing. Be diligent, be dedicated. You know, so you need to know people. You need to be dedicated. You need to be focused. You need to define the problem you're solving. I think those are the key things, and that's my advice to young entrepreneurs.
Hello, wonderful people. Welcome to another beautiful segment of the Intellect, Youths with a Nation at Heart. My name is Emilien Chinima, your host for today. Today we'll be speaking about this amazing topic called manufacturing, import and export industry. When you hear the word manufacturing, what comes to your mind? Don't you think it's very impossible for you to discuss manufacturing without speaking about import and export? So today with me in the studio, I have two amazing young men. Together we'll be analyzing the topic manufacturing, export and import industry. So I'll just hand them over to you for them to introduce themselves. So starting with you, what's your name?
I am Maka.
Mr. Maka, and
I'm Femi Ojo.
Mr. Femi Ojo. How do you do today?
I'm very fine, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Femi, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, so we just watched an interview with the CEO of the Nord Automobile in person of Mr. Oluwatobi Ajayi. I learned a lot, so my opinion doesn't really matter now. It's just for you guys to tell the viewers what you learned from the interview, just briefly.
What I learned from this interview, first of all, is we have more than one car manufacturer in Nigeria.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We have several, actually, and that's where the gap is, the information gap. We have several. Now, we've been clamoring on social media what is being done for these local car manufacturers. How is the government helping them? Is the government imposing or giving instructions to government agencies saying you must use this car?
Use this car.
That's the next step for them as far as they are concerned.
Okay.
And I think one of them has already started exporting.
Okay.
So which is the end goal of manufacturing? To be able to export.
To be able to export.
Get us foreign investments.
Okay.
Another issue is especially the automobile industry is heavily reliant on imports right now. What we do is majorly assembly. But gradually things will change and we start to manufacture locally. Then we come to the cost of manufacturing locally, which actually needs to go down.
Okay.
I think the transportation industry, transporting raw materials, transportation should actually help.
You're right.
Cost of transportation goes down. First of all,
It's actually helpful, yeah. That's it.
I think that's the first step.
Okay.
The cost needs to go down. Because a lot of the time you find that the markets, in the open markets, what you buy locally and what you buy from imports is always cheaper.
Import is always cheaper.
At least they need to match up before it now begins to become cheaper. In order to price the market out of the hands of the imported goods.
Okay. So Femi, what did you learn?
Okay, I'm coming from the perspective of policy, government policy. Majorly, it's everywhere in the world where policies support or not to support what you're doing. So I saw him talking about the policy. actually influenced the market, you know. And again, he talked about collaborations, and he talked about skilled manpower. Yes, he talked about how efficient we're actually ready for that. So there's a lot of narratives in regards to import and export industry in Nigeria, Africa as a whole too.
Okay, so Maka, when you were speaking, you made mention of we have a lot of automobile companies and assembling companies that we do not know about, which is not a good one. We cannot have these industries in the nation and most people don't know, I'm using your word. So why do you think, like, what do you think influences that, or why do you think that's happening?
The spread of information, really. I think branding on the part of the companies themselves, and maybe their branding within their markets, in order to maybe not to overstretch themselves. We as a people as well, this is available online. We are all online these days, and we still don't know a lot of these things. We don't know how we can help them. At least I know if the police is using these cars, I'm seeing these cars every day. It's like free advertisement for this company.
That's it.
Which government needs to do.
Okay. So Shani, before we move away, you want to add something?
Yeah, I want to say something quickly. It's the fact remains that you know, you talked about policy when I was giving my points. Policy, some of our government policy doesn't actually help the SMEs grow. And it's a big challenge. So even when you have the model to you want to bring on board and you don't have the necessary expertise to drive results, you wouldn't get there. So that's one of the major problems we actually have.
Irrespective of the fact that branding is already there, yet it's not being exposed, it's not being properly, the awareness is not still there. What do you think the government can do to support firms like this?
Okay, thank you. Maka just said something about awareness, and you just spoke something about awareness. So I would say education. A lot of people, like you're actually engaging someone that doesn't even know it exists. Okay, it does exist. We have, like we said, we have automobile companies in Nigeria. A lot of them, because of this government policy, in quote, it's not really favorable. So you wouldn't even know. And a lot of people have actually not trusted the efficiency of how this product is going to look like. It is until you have 100% efficient that you can 100% trust rather.
But then that's the stigma of made in Nigeria.
It's a stigma. It's now.
I
would say that we have National Orientation Agency, NOA in Nigeria. They need to do a lot. I was with one of the chairman of NOA in Nigeria, and it's disappointing that they don't really have a lot of funds to work on this. So it's also a lot of orientation needs to go down. Other continents or other countries or China, for instance, is doing well because they actually branding themselves. You know, so we can do well too. Let's believe in what we have. We can actually. So that's just it. Don't forget about the free trade zone.
In the north, they sell first grade leather.
That's it.
Italy to France, Canada, all around the world.
All right.
Well, if we get the same leather and produce and same made in Nigeria, you are not going to buy it.
Yes, because it seems like we're not really comfortable with our
She is not the problem.
She
is not the problem. It's a mentality, and is even an assignment on the power of the government. We are the government too. An assignment on the power of us to see when we are doing our products, our end products. Our end products are actually the best, because you know when you have a model and you don't actually brand it so well, I'm not going to get your model. That's just the point. So we need to support. You know, basically we need to really support SMEs, small scale enterprises. We need to support businesses that are thriving in Nigeria that will feel it's a future. And don't forget the fact that these automobile companies can actually produce or give opportunities about thousands of jobs to young people. So what are we now saying about fourth industrial revolution? When other countries in the world, China, are actually using artificial intelligence to produce cars, and we still here trying to even still sell cars. If government can actually lower down their policy and actually support these guys, I tell you, and reduce the rate of, you sell a car 500,000 naira, people get it. We have over 250 million Nigerians staying there. We have over 250 million people staying in Nigeria. So as a matter of fact, we have the market. Don't forget the African Free Trade Zone. So we have the market. So we can liaise, because that has given us an advantage for us to liaise with other African countries. And that is why other continents of the world still look at Africa as the market of the world.
And we really need to grow our portfolio, especially because of trade.
Okay, so away from automobiles, I want you to mention other industries you think, other manufacturing industries that you think can actually help economic growth away from automobiles.
Away from automobiles.
Yes.
I would say agricultural exports.
Yeah.
That is really there. But I would say more. We need to start processing our foods. We need to start processing our agricultural produce. We are still the largest importers of tomatoes. And I think one of the largest nations, which we are very rich in tomato. I don't know the percentage, but we're very rich in tomato, and we're still one of the largest importers, which doesn't make any sense.
That's interesting. That's an interesting fact.
And it doesn't make any sense.
That's interesting.
The only factory I know of, the Dangote refinery, has shut down again for the second time.
Yeah.
So wait, if I got you correctly, we are among the largest
raw materials
country. We are among the top countries that produce high number of tomatoes. Yet we import
tomato paste.
That's an irony, you know. I mean, how can you produce something
that's
and yes, you import?
If government can actually support these products, it does us good than harm actually, and it gives opportunities to a lot of young minds out there.
I think the best government support we can get right now, the arms we are purchasing from America, which are set to arrive in 2021, 2022.
Okay.
So if we can pay down for weapons that we haven't seen yet, then we should be able to pay down for cars we haven't seen yet.
So wait, if I got you correctly, we are paying for arms.
Yes.
That's arms and ammunition.
Yes, set to arrive at a later
date. Set to arrive. Okay, that's wonderful. This year, the president signed a particular policy. So can you tell us more about that?
Okay, in Africa,
yes.
The African Union have actually come together. All African countries have actually come together to actually have a free trade zone. And what free trade zones mean is we can have access to other African countries to do business with them, and which helps African economy. It's actually a good deal. From another perspective, it's actually a not really good deal because other continents will take advantage of that to explore us more.
Because
that's just it. Yeah, we are not leaders in manufacturing. So but for us, when we're talking about automobiles now, it's an advantage for us to be able to liaise with other countries in Africa to do business with us.
Do business with them.
With them rather. So it's actually drive more results for us. So on that aspect for us, it's actually a good deal. For the president to have actually signed that, it will actually boost the economy and it's actually going to help. Don't forget that ECOWAS by 2020, the ECOWAS country in Africa will be using the same currency. So it's actually, it's a plan for the future.
It's a plan
for the future. It's just as everybody's clamoring for the fourth industrial revolution. So you need to be aware, you need to be ready for all this process. So for ECOWAS countries in Africa to be using the same currency is actually drive more results. So you don't go to Ghana and feel like you're going to use cedis. You can actually use the eco money that's going to be in circulation by 2020. Yeah. I don't think that stops your naira being used.
Let's see how long
let's see. But I think when it comes to interaction with other countries, you use eco. Yeah. But when you are doing your local deals, I guess you're going to use your naira.
Within the same country.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. So it encourages oneness. And if Africa, like I used to say, this is the only opportunity Africa has to be on the same level with the other continent. This is the only opportunity we have to be a global player rather than a local player. So if you take advantage of these opportunities available, come on, we will not be where we're saying we are today, and we are actually ready going to where we want to see Nigeria being.
Okay. For every sector, irrespective of how people in that sector are ensuring that they thrive on and all, there will still be some factors hindering them to achieve this success. Yeah. So what do you think, like factors, just briefly, affecting...
The most important is
electricity, okay? Electricity. More like power? Sometimes I don't think we should necessarily wait for foreign investors. Yeah, we have investors, yes, exactly. We have investors here that can actually support. So what do you think? Profile Solutions, please.
Okay, number one, we need to bring more venture capitalists on board.
Okay.
Number two, government needs to go into private-public partnership. That's okay. So it actually helps to drive more results. So it's not going to be like a government-owned organization. Okay. It's not going to be like a private-owned organization. Okay. So that it can actually strive more. Because in this part of the world, believe when the government owns an organization, it doesn't pull that efficiency we actually want to see. But when it goes in the PPA, for instance, it drives more results. That's it. Okay.
So we've added all. Our panelists have provided solutions. We've pointed out problems. So before we call it a day, we'll be watching an interview with an expert in the industry. So please stay tuned as we get to hear his opinions about how import and export can actually help the economic growth.
My name is Dele Ayemibo, and lead consultant of IMPEX Trade Academy. We're talking about the reason why a young entrepreneur should consider manufacturing and export, and which of course might involve import along the line. If you're any entrepreneur in Nigeria, I've never been thinking of export before. We have a more compelling reason to do that right now because of the recently signed African Continental Free Trade Agreement that will enable other 54 African countries to have access to Nigerian market duty-free. So we also have to be offensive, because then we must begin to think of how to sell this product outside the country. But then, if you're going to export out of Nigeria, sometimes you might need to do some importation of raw materials, which is okay. What I would recommend is for you to even do this at all, to be able to try to learn and acquire all the skills needed to run such business. Because now you're not going to just trading locally, you're going to be trading internationally. And there are materials online on YouTube, videos, and the like that can help to do this. Now, export in Nigeria have peculiar challenges, just like another business around the world, but Nigeria is just peculiar. There are challenges around product, there are challenges around pricing, there are challenges around paperwork, there are challenges around payment, and then purchasers, getting buyer from abroad. We call these the 5 Ps that destroy trade transactions, especially on the export side. So anyone thinking of exporting, anyone manufacturing thinking of exporting, my recommendation is don't export as a manufacturer. Partner with merchant who will be the one to take it up and export, so that you can focus on your manufacturing as an entrepreneur. So manufacturing will become extremely important. But if you're going to import into Nigeria, also be conscious of the fact that you are going to face a major challenge called demurrage. Demurrage is the fee paid for the usage of container beyond the free period while the container is in the custody of the shipping line. So I would strongly recommend that people go into manufacturing and manufacture product that is of good quality, that will be able to compete outside. But don't just manufacture for local, and don't think that, oh, I've not satisfied the local market, why should I think of export? I believe in the genius of the ant, not what some people call the tyranny of the or, doing this or this. I think you can produce, sell locally, and also export at the same time. Rather than produce, sell locally and say, I don't need the export market, or produce and only look for the export market and forget about the local market. I think both become extremely important. Thank you very much.
Welcome back. I'm sure we learned a lot from that particular interview with an expert, did we?
Yeah.
Okay. Please note that you're still watching the Intellect Show. Youth with the Nation at Heart. See you same time next week.
If they burn you well,
If they burn you well too,
you just stand up, come and meet me.
you don't fit do anything. You just talk for nothing.
No, I have never smoked before.
I just noticed that boy don't change.
Holy Shaolin Temple. Your son don't talk to Ninja.
You gotta disobey your parents, Abi. Eh? No, sir, you both say parental guardians say what? It's a manufacturer agency. Magbeti Yadano.
From now on, Nimbe is my favorite cousin.
But for all the money we spend on you to go school, you waste everything for here. You hire.
Enough! Let me tell him how he has failed as a father. But this is home now.
Hello
everyone, welcome to Business Crest today. My name is God Queen Anike, and as you all know, I'm here to give you all the positivity that you need to move from being a great person to a greater person. Now, I want to ask you a question. How many streams of income do you think is enough, or do you think is enough for someone? 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. If you have 10, kudos to you because you're doing a great job. As long as you're consistent, you're persistent, you're pushing, and you're never giving up, trust me, you are doing well. And for the rest of us that doesn't really know about it or haven't really put a thought in our head about it, please try and think about it and put work to it because it will help you in the long run. Okay, we're going to be talking about somebody today, and that person is John H. Johnson. John H. Johnson was a businessman and a publisher. He was the founder of the Johnson Publishing Company. He has published a whole lot of magazines and books, and he was named the Black Enterprise Entrepreneur, and his legacy remains. I leave you with this: recondition your mind for success. Think about it. Do not forget to register for our Expo 10 on our website before it ends. And for more information, visit all our social media platforms. Thank you so much. I love you. Bye.